Coming up next on The Voice of Alabama Politics, Privatizing ABC. Also, the V-Team takes a look at big budgets, no raises. And Mike Hubbard wants to be Speaker.
I'd like rulers, a ox, and a Makita cup. And then I think I would like a large with cream.
Yes, and could I please have a honey donut, raspberry, and a orange drink?
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. And bigger, okay.
Oh, well, let me try to recap the order. A crawler, 2 sugar pucks, a Stanley Cup, a large coffee with cream, a raspberry jelly donut, orange drink, and a box of 5 holes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Would you like that with a side of fries? All this and much, much more coming up next on The V. Welcome to The Voice of Alabama Politics, where we tackle the tough issues so you have the hard facts. I'm your host, Bill Britt, and as always, I'm joined by the V-Team. Welcome all.
Hi, guys. Kind of outnumbered here today.
You
Just
are,
a little.
but, you know, I've been outnumbered by the blondes before,
That's
and
true.
that was scary.
That's true.
There's not a lot of brain power here, so it's okay.
Yeah, you're in good company. Speaking of brain power, this past week in the House, they did pass a budget, Josh. They introduced one at one point. 9 hours later, what did we have?
Essentially the same budget. 9 hours of a filibuster, and I like the sarcastic use of brain power there. If you're a state worker, you got nothing, so good for you. Again, you're still stuck with the same thing you were making in 2008.
It's been all this time. The governor's got raises for his folks. The legislature has gotten raises for their folks. Medicaid's got raises. The rank and file members that make this government work, not a dime, Josh.
Yeah, I don't, there's a concept that we have here with football coaches that the higher you pay them, the better football coach you get. And we see it all the time. It's the reason Nick Saban's making $8 million around here. The governor has used that to fill out his staff and to give them substantial raises. Why do they believe that the same concept doesn't work with state government and the services that we pay for? That the more you pay people and the better you treat them, the better service we'll get out of them.
I mean, these are the very people that support these legislators and all of them, whether it's taking out the garbage or whether it's putting the mail in their mailboxes. You know, all these other people got raises, but yet this support staff gets nothing.
You know, Stephanie Azar, the Medicaid commissioner, what did she get, a $60,000 increase? And she can't do her job without all of these people who haven't got a pay increase in 10 years.
And I certainly, for one, believe Stephanie Azar deserves a 60. I mean, she's done such a fabulous job. 60,000 is just not enough to appreciate the job she's done over
Been making
Medicaid.
a lot of progress.
In what areas exactly?
Yeah, I
Really?
mean, the CARES program that is under their responsibility, they've spent like around $70 million. We don't have a product that works. So tell me, Stephanie Azar, if she was working on piecework, the woman would owe us like millions of dollars.
Yeah, well, the RCOs are going great.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
so that's
yeah,
working out real
that's-
good.
yeah, that's working
All right.
out.
Well, anyway, thanks, Steph. You know, it's just ridiculous that these people get these huge salaries and do nothing but waste money and time.
But yet you've got state workers that haven't had a raise since 2008, and budgets have been cut since then, and they're doing 2 or 3 other jobs.
And the thousands of people who've been laid off at the same
Absolutely.
time.
I tell you what, you take Eric and Bertie over at the State House,
Eric and Bertie.
put them in charge, something will happen.
Those two work harder than any 2 people I've ever known.
It's not like they were asking for very much, okay? This was a 4% increase
Right.
to their pay, which their pay is already not much.
Yeah,
So
to me, this whole thing is kind of indicative of what we do here. And, they have bragged about cutting these jobs. They have talked about state workers in their retirements as though they're mooching off of all of us, as though they're not doing a service that we like. And then we complain about the things that aren't getting done.
Yeah, the funny thing is, these are the same people that want a state job.
Yeah.
I mean, these are people
right?
who run for a state job.
yeah, and we're acting like this is the big moocher on our budget.
Right.
Like it's paying these people is what's costing us so
Follow
much money
these
out of our
people
budgets.
one work day. I dare a legislator to follow a state worker for one work day and see how much
Well,
they
this is
work.
that-
And they work for 3 months out of the year.
We got to move on. This is this is like the civics test. We can't pass a budget. We can't pass a law about a civics test until they can pass one.
I agree, absolutely.
Okay. Arthur Orr.
Never having a
Speaking of
civics
civics test, I think Arthur Orr is behind the civics test.
He is.
And Arthur Orr seems to want to be in everything these days, but he also wants to privatize the ABC boards. He wants to give the liquor to Walmart and Costco and the people around the community to sell. Susan, we make a bunch of money with these liquor stores.
We do. $235 million in fiscal year 2014-15. And it goes to important places like the general fund, $75 million, human resources, $55, mental health, $38. God knows we don't need to cut mental health anymore. The ETF, $22, Department of Revenue, $16, city and counties, $14, and ALEA gets $12. And Stabler has already said they need to increase their budget. Where is this money going to come from if we don't have these stores?
Well, and Josh, we've seen it, and Chip, I know you want to weigh in on this too, and I want you to. We've seen it where when you give this away as a conservative idea to the markets of the world, the markets do well, but the state does lousy, right?
Yeah, it's he may be behind the civics test, but he's not behind the math test on
Right.
it. And so where are we going to replace the money from? Where do we get $250 million out of this? Because I've heard the conversations at the State House. It's not like we're floating in cash.
Right.
And the only reason we don't have a shortfall in the budget this year of over $100 million is because we got that BP money. Go back a year ago when we had a $200 million shortfall. What would we have done if it was a $450 million shortfall?
That's right.
That's a big tax
and
increase.
although I get the concept that, maybe the state doesn't need to be in the selling of the liquor business and this and that and the other, but and I realize that the people think that this is going to go to mom and pops, and that's going to last for a little while. That'll last for a little while. And then Costco and Walmart and all of them will take it over, just like they did the pharmacies in the 80s.
I think you've hit on a big thing. We need to be in the liquor business and the gambling business.
And the marijuana business. Yes.
One-stop shopping.
This is Alabama. Don't forget this.
I'm
That's the reason I'm suggesting it.
I mean, if we had that and you could get your chainsaw sharpened and maybe like a hairdo or something, beauty shop.
And if they ever bring them back, pistol permits,
If they could change your tires.
I mean, think about it. We've got, what do you want? We got marijuana, we got lottery tickets, and we
aim to please.
We got some liquor over here.
We aim to please.
I mean, that's what I call a full service
We could
destination.
buy anything we wanted. We could buy Georgia
Why would we want Georgia?
or one of the Dakotas.
We could we could buy Florida. That wouldn't be that bad. But it's just the top part that we already should have. Anyway, this week we learned that Speaker Mike Hubbard, our favorite felon, is got a new line of work. He's doing voiceovers for commercials, and you've had some suggestions for what he might do with his voiceovers.
Yeah, your voicemails. Yeah, you could call in. You could have Mike Hubbard do your voicemail for you, or the V open.
What do you think, Chad?
He sent us a letter, didn't he? I say we go for it. The last segment was funny with the marijuana, but this is a little funnier to me. I mean, he started his own website. He has demos. It's great. I would hire him.
He's got to earn a living. The guy's trying.
Yeah.
This is Mike Hubbard. You're watching
not
The V, hosted by
soliciting.
that sorry beep.
He's already experienced in soliciting, and he's got to get some more practice before he goes into prison. So
We are not opening prostitution in this state.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Soliciting. He's soliciting.
Soliciting business.
All right, we're going to have to hold it right there. You're watching The V. We'll be right back with more news and analysis.
Azia Medical Spa offers a relaxing experience using customized skincare treatments and full line of physician-grade products, with professionals that can assist you in determining which treatment options will best help you achieve your desired results. Azia's massage therapies are popular for rejuvenation and relaxation, as well as relief of tired, aching, and sore muscles. Voted the best medical spa in Birmingham for 3 years in a row, visit aziamedicalspa.com to schedule your appointment.
Welcome back to The Voice of Alabama Politics, where our special guest today is Anthony Daniels, representative and also the minority leader of the House of Representatives. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Bill. It's a pleasure.
You are the youngest minority leader in the House and actually the first African-American minority leader in the House.
Yes, sir.
It's been a long time coming.
Absolutely, but I'm excited about it.
Good. Glad to see you there. I know you currently represent part of the Huntsville area. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you come from, and then we'll talk about where we're going.
Well, thank you, Bill. But for me, I started out of college and graduate school. I was elected chairman of the National Education Association student program. So I had to leave graduate school and move to Washington, D.C., and there I was over 1,100 college campuses, over 62,000 college students nationwide, and students that are training to become teachers. And so during that particular time, I ended up working in partnership with the Bush administration and Senator Ted Kennedy and chairman of the House Education Committee at the time, George Miller, on the College Cost Reduction Act. I was the advocate for that particular issue because I was saddled with $58,000 student loan debt. And so I focused on the issue of access and affordability of higher education. And so from that, a year and a half into my term, we passed the College Cost Reduction Act. And so I was very excited about that. I've been a classroom teacher. I've taught in a third grade in Huntsville at the Academy of Science and Foreign Language, which is a public magnet school. I've taught fourth grade at a Title I school called University Place in Huntsville, now Hereford Elementary. And I've taught on an Indian reservation between Albuquerque and Santa Fe, New Mexico, fourth and fifth grade. And I returned to my alma mater, Alabama A&M, to be over corporate and foundation relations, which is fundraising. And now I'm a small business owner. My wife is a dentist, so she has a dental practice. My company does a lot of the management for that practice, but also my company is a defense company that focuses on cybersecurity and logistics.
You are a man of a lot of talent. We know that, but I had no idea that you'd done that many things in this short a time.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
Well, listen, I always say don't ask the Lord where he'd have you go because he's going to send you.
Absolutely.
As minority leader, you have some specific goals that you want to see, some things that you want to address, and things that are bipartisan. I always try to let people understand that really down here, our Democrats and Republicans aren't that far apart. But they want to make it like we are, and it's not. It really isn't. I mean, we ought to be friendly and talk to each other, but you have some specific ideas you want to do.
Absolutely, and I agree. After campaigning, all of the political rhetoric, it should go away. Sometimes it makes its way into the legislature, whether it's bills that deals with life or issues that are probably going to end up in court. And so those are the issues that I would prefer that we deal less with and focus on issues that's going to focus on our economy, make sure that we're supporting our community college and four-year institutions as they train the workforce, and also our high schools as they prepare the workforce. There are many young people that don't want to go to college and that have no interest in going to college, but putting them on a track to where they're able to get a skill or a trade even in high school so that it translates into getting them into the workforce and they can make a decent living for their families.
And it's about jobs. I mean, you can't raise a family, you can't have a society if people are unemployed. And far too many of our people are unemployed or underemployed. And we were talking during the break, there aren't really many jobs bills this time, and we need jobs.
Absolutely. Our focus should be on jobs, number one. But we also have to make sure that workforce development is alongside that. We have to work in a parallel. And so I think that for me, if you take, for example, in Cortland, Alabama, where they lost over 1,000 jobs because of the paper mill.
Sure.
And so looking at that particular community in general, I would urge this administration to focus on changing their recruitment strategy.
Okay.
So if you have an industry that left Cortland, Alabama, you have more than 1,000 people that's within that area that have no job right now.
Right.
So if we focus on recruiting industry that's probably about 15 to 20 years away from full automation, then it's a perfect fit. Right. You're able to replace the jobs for those displaced workers that are currently not working because of job loss, but you're also able to invest in workforce development, even in our elementary K through 12, in the area of robotics,
right,
as well as our community colleges, so that you're training the workforce to take over the technology jobs in the robotics area, while at the same time satisfying the displaced workforce that lost their job in the manufacturing, so that you're not focusing a whole lot on, it's not a technology skill that you're preparing the displaced workers for,
right,
but it's something similar to what they're accustomed to, maybe a 2-week training period. And so that way we're replacing jobs, but we're also preparing for the future workforce.
Right, and one of the things has been this workforce development has been a partnership between the community college and the business community. You're up in the Huntsville area. That is the bright, shining star of industry and innovation in Alabama. So.
And right now, our focus was a lot on the defense industry. We've diversified, thanks to the leadership in our county and in our delegation. We've diversified our jobs because we realize that many of our citizens, all of our citizens don't have engineering degree or
right,
technology degrees. And so we've been able to diversify with Remington and Polaris, that's providing opportunities for individuals that are even in surrounding counties and those that may not have gone to college, but have an opportunity to make a decent living and get a good paying job, so that we do reduce dependency. The only way that we are going to reduce the strain that's on our general fund, from whether it's Medicaid or prisons, we got to focus on jobs. Mm-hmm. If we focus on diversification of jobs in these areas, then you'll start to see a reduction of dependency over time. We got to stop. Every year, we're seeing the increase in dependency. Our budgets are being increased each and every year in those particular areas, but we've not focused on the areas with the highest unemployment rate, and we've not changed our recruitment strategy so that person that gets out of high school is trained the last couple of years of high school, right, and that displaced worker that may have lost their job at Chrysler when they moved some of their manufacturing to St. Louis will also have an opportunity to go back into the workforce. And so we got to open the doors of opportunities for those that choose to go to college, as well as those that do not choose to go to college.
As the old saying goes, we give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, teach him how to fish, and he can eat for a lifetime.
Absolutely, and that's the philosophy we have as Democrats. How do we help people help themselves? And that's the model that we're going to live by. And we got to realize that we are Alabama. We have to take care of Alabama. The argument on charter schools, it's not that I'm opposed to charter schools. What I believe is it is my fundamental belief that we should focus on, if you're riding up 65 going North Alabama, if there's a pothole in the road, do you want them to build Interstate 64 next to 65? Or do you want them to take care of Interstate 65 and repair it so that it is up to par and is up to standards? That's what we have to do in this state in education. Focus on our public schools, get them right, and then still you can offer options after that.
Well, I want to thank you for your service to our state, and I want to thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck in everything.
Thank you.
You're watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics. Our special guest today has been Minority Leader Anthony Daniels. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The V, the voice of Alabama politics. one of the things that Minority Leader Daniels brought up is the lack of jobs bills. You know, I mean, maybe we need to get Twinkle in there with the jobs. I mean, at least we're not talking about jobs, but we are talking about workforce training, which is great. But Josh, people got to go to work.
Yeah, you know, I went to the Workforce Council this week where they had, Governor Bentley was there to introduce a new program to try to get 65% of the state's workforce with a 2-year degree or training certificate, which is great. It's a great idea. But, you know, as usual, there's no real follow-through or concepts there to make it happen. There's no resources devoted to that. And so it's just essentially wishing it so. And I don't understand how they believe this is going to happen without putting in place some sort of long-term solutions to education and other things that help it. And one of the main things that's killing us right now is health care.
Yeah.
We have a lot of companies that won't come here because of the poor health care
They won't
structure.
come here because the roads are bad, the health care's bad, the schools are not great. I mean, you have to have all those things for companies to want to come here. And you can have all Airbus come and bring 300 jobs to one city, but that's not fixing a rising unemployment
Look where
rate.
the last 2 big companies came in, as Representative Daniels said. You know, you had Remington and Polaris, and they went to Huntsville because good infrastructure, good schools. You know, they've got all the right mix.
I will say this to that point is that I think now that you have Jimmy Baker, he has been appointed as the chancellor of the 2-year college
this
system.
week.
He has devoted to making this workforce training, this workforce development with the dual enrollment and all that. He's dedicated to making that happen. And he brought in Jeff Lynn from Louisiana, Alabama native. He is the Nick Saban of that training. And so we've got a lot of confidence, and we want to congratulate Chancellor Baker on his appointment there.
Yeah, I think that's all great, and I think that you can certainly make some significant changes there. The thing that I worry is that we go too far down that path of just basically training people for specific jobs and not creating a better whole student out of people.
You're right.
Yeah, you have to diversify the workforce. If you train for just this one industry and then it becomes automized, like Representative Daniels was talking about, then what do you do?
Yeah, we have a lot of coal jobs right now and a lot of coal miners that are out there looking for jobs and wishing it's going to come back, and they're not. And somebody needs to be honest with them and train those people for better jobs for the future.
I mean, look at the steel plants now, and one sitting in Gadsden, and it's a dinosaur for the last 20 years, and those people were trained for those jobs, and they don't process out.
Well, and the thing is, we go back to this time and time again, and look, you got to get a basic education so you can do math, that you can read. I mean, good Lord, the reading comprehension skills just among the lawmakers is awful. I mean, they don't understand.
They follow me on Twitter. I've seen their tweets. Yeah, it's not great.
Their spelling is a little atrocious too.
We need to give kids a classical education, and then we need to train them to be able to do some kind of job.
Yeah.
Some kind of job that they can make a living at.
Yeah, there's a pathway for, the path is not the same for every student there. And there's no shame in taking the tech training and going into a welding job or some sort of green job for the future there. There's no shame in taking that job because a lot of them are making far more money than I am. You know?
And there's nothing saying that if they did take that job that they couldn't further their education from the wages they weren't learning from that, and certainly not going into student debt.
Right.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah. Well, we need to move on, but that is an important topic. Something that is going to be seen by a judge this next week, I guess, is the following week. Montgomery County Circuit Judge has set a date to hear on an injunction that will say, Governor Bentley, you need to reset the date of that Senate election. So we're going to hear that. I think it is on the this coming up. When is it, Susan?
I'm not really sure.
The 21st. 21st. At 8:30 in the morning. I noted the time because I'm going to have to get up early. But so that's great.
So they're saying Bentley has been sued, saying that he has to set the date forthwith. And Josh, they've come back and argued, saying, well, forthwith, what does it modify?
Forthwith, what does that mean, really? I mean, what's the definition of is? They have tried this a number of different ways, and all along, Chris England, who started this whole debate about this, has been right, and he has killed them on this. And and the main point he has made is that the only way you can make these points that they're trying to make is to take this completely out of context, and then to change the definition of forthwith, because forthwith does not mean 2.5 years from now. It just doesn't. And the idea that they're going to be able to try to say now that forthwith means that's when you had to call for the election. Stop it.
He's trying to say which word it modifies.
Right. That is
really
completely going in and ignoring the rest of the section of the code, because you have it in there where it says point blank, the only time a governor can set a special election for the next general election is if it's within 4 months of that. This is 2 years out.
Right.
And they're saying, yeah, we're just going to set it in 2018.
But I love this fact that the Bentley group wants to say what that modifier is. You know,
going back to reading comprehension skills
he's
here.
mollified the state and he wants to modify. I mean, it's just.
They're taking one sentence out and trying to sentence diagram it out of a whole section of code.
Yeah.
Women stay silent in the church. Boom.
Yeah, right.
Just reach it in there and pull it right out of
Let's write it
context.
on a napkin and hand it to the attorney. Yeah.
If there's one skill we have, it's taking things out of context.
It certainly
You're
works.
absolutely right about that.
Don't even get me into the groping thing, okay? All right, we got about 1 minute.
Yes, I'm outnumbered.
Some Trump Republican women wrote to the president and said, President, they're appointing 2 men to federal positions here in Alabama, and we're quite sure that they're Democrats. Susan, the only thing that shows us that they're Democrats is nothing. They're black.
Yeah.
African Americans. Doesn't make them Democrats.
That's a bit of a problem there. One of them had been a Republican for quite some time.
21 years.
21 years, and to be called a Democrat. I think he had to, because of redistricting, he had to change.
He did switch parties,
but
lifelong Republican.
Right, but to just make the assumption, that is just so racist. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to go ahead and agree with that, because I just find it really hard to believe that Donald Trump would pick anybody that's a Democrat to do anything. I mean, I don't
I have a
buy
bigger
it.
problem believing he'd pick anybody black to do anything. But, apparently in this particular case,
some things are surprising.
Again, it was a little galling to me, because when we looked at it, the only thing we could see that was Democrat about him was one had prosecuted a Democrat and one did switch in 2016, but after 21 years. I think that was convenient.
Yeah.
So
there could be some racism.
there could be. Could be. We won't say there is. It's possible.
It's possible.
Anyway, we're going to leave it right there. You've been watching the voice of Alabama politics. You watch us because we watch them.